opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. Between science and ignorance, there is filler.
For January 29th, 2017. Tonight, my guests are Aaron G. Thompson and Nick Simons. You know them as the people behind the Ghost Crier project. Also, the sometimes goes by Ghost Talk. It's a whole branding issue that I probably should bring up in the interview. It's a very high-energy YouTube series that deals with the paranormal. That is something that I could have done, say, 10 or 15 years ago before my hips gave out. Incidentally, they may be having to take the reins of the show because I had a Scarefest meeting today and I drank an inordinate amount of coffee and I may have to leave the microphone at any moment. At Scarefest, we had the board meeting today. For those of you that don't know, Scarefest is the paranormal and horror convention here in Lexington, Kentucky. It takes place in September. It is going to be off the hook this year. We have some big plans, a lot of events surrounding. The convention's always great. Right now, we're concentrating on getting some peripheral events going on at the same time. And so I think that's something to be really, really excited about. So everybody, just stay tuned. We'll be right back with Paranormal Filler. Switch over now to the split screen for those of you watching on video. And there are my guests, Aaron and Nick. One thing before we get started, Aaron, on some of your videos, you have this very, very attractive female that helps you. And
that's me.
It's Nick. He pretty depends sure, what he wears.
Pretty darn sure. For those of you listening live, we'll fix the audio in post, but the reason we backed off the audio is that it was chopping out. So we're hoping this fixes it. So why didn't you bring her?
I should have. The ratings would have went through the roof.
Yeah.
Lindsay is well aware of this, as her Instagram is just blowing up in the world of vegan, as well as I think paranormal and fitness.
She's a para-vegan.
She's a para-vegan. That's what it's coined. She's a para-vegan.
Para-vegan.
No ghosts were harmed.
Para-veganess.
I
don't know.
I like it.
So
she's here in spirit.
What? Introduce yourselves to the listeners and tell them about your Ghost Crier project.
Well, Nick, I'll let you start, buddy.
I'm Nick Simons. I am the tech guy. Usually I have a vest on so people know that I'm the tech guy. I also play with a lot of the audio, so most of the EVPs that you hear on the videos were done by me. I use Adobe. That's here, probably.
I was going to say, I thought my ride was here. Okay, go ahead.
21 Pilots is playing down the street right now, so you're probably going to hear a lot of horns and honking, but yeah, I'm the tech guy.
All my friends
I
are
do
heathens.
the audio. Yeah, all Aaron's friends are heathens. Let them know.
Yeah.
Aaron, you usually pitch the most about Ghost Crier, so...
Back to me. Hey, guys, I'm Aaron G. Thompson over GhostCrier.com. It's a place, it's a thing, it's what we do. The Ghost Crier project, in a sense, because that's ultimately what it is, back on... Whoop.
Wait a minute. No, I can fix that.
I like it, though.
Nobody's here.
Do like a puppet or something.
I have no idea why that happened on the video. Go ahead.
I like it, though. So back about over a year and a half ago or so, decided to see if the band wanted to get back together and really just go forward with a full functioning career in the paranormal and ghost hunting. It's super taboo, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it. Not only are all, taboo.
Yeah.
Not only are all of course, my skills are tailored for this. No one's really doing it, I don't think, in the capacity that we are attempting to do with setting goals, getting achievements, setting up our Patreon site. It's patreon.com/ghostcrier. We do have patrons there that pledge for us, so technically we are professional ghost hunters through their pledges. Can't quite quit my day job yet, though. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I get that part of it. I'm just barely at the level that I even consider myself a professional anything in this field, because it's just enough that I better report it on my taxes. That's really all it does. Thank you. This is my winter beard, by the way.
It's a nice beard.
It's a little bit longer than you will normally see on me, but I decided to go full out Duck Dynasty on everybody and just see what would happen. Let's start with you, Aaron. Your interest in the paranormal. Now, your obvious bubbly personality aside, what led you into the paranormal?
Answers. I just wanted to seek answers. And great question, because a lot of people do ask me that. They expect maybe a big story of me seeing something or having an experience when I was younger, and that really wasn't the case with me. I had overactive imagination. There are things I probably could question, but be honest with you, I think it all boils down to pareidolia, as a kid at least. I wanted to find answers. I was a young teen, scared of death, and thought, I wonder if there is anything life after. Well, ask my peers. They gave me yes and they gave me no answers. Neither side, neither group really had a reason why, just because. So as me, in my teens, I wanted to figure it out. I guess if you want answers, you got to do it yourself. So I went in as in a sense, a skeptic. I didn't really believe it existed, but I wasn't denying it. I took it as a very, I would like to say, a scientific mindset. And here I am still 18 years later now, still doing it. So I think there's something in the field there that hooked me.
Has the skepticism waned?
I find myself being the biggest skeptic I know. It's just, I know that at this point that there's life after. I had my experience, so absolutely, I'm a believer. Once our vessels expire, there's life beyond. No doubt with that. But I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm not part of a religion. Not trying to push anything on anyone. We'll all find out at some point. But I do find myself honestly the biggest skeptic when it comes to evidence, and evidence reveals, just because I know it exists, but at this point I think we got to start putting out quality stuff. Maybe no more orbs. What? Sorry, excuse me.
That's all you, man. Orbs. I never touch orbs.
No, we don't do orbs. No, not too much.
Okay, Nick. Now, where do you come into this?
He was trying to get Ghost Crier started up a few years back, 2009-ish, and he worked with my fiance And she was like, hey, I got a huge boyfriend, because we were just dating at that time, and he'd be good for your ghost group. And Aaron was like, right on, I'll take him and throw him down the dark hallway and watch him scream.
It's like security. I loved it.
Yeah, and we've just been at it ever since. There was a time where he moved away, and I kind of joined at different groups, and we did a lot of residential investigations, which are boring, and we really don't do those anymore. Whew, glad that's over with. And then he moved back and contacted me last year and said, let's get this going again. And here we are. I thought it'd be more investigating, but we are having a blast making the Ghost Talk videos and hoping to get more investigations in. Our last video, we just changed the truck. My Silverado, we turned that into a giant spirit box, and we're going to kick some more of those videos out to you soon.
So, yeah.
So you're saying you hacked the radio on your truck stereo? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, we took the SB7 and we just aux corded it into my my radio.
These things loud.
Drove through a cemetery with all the windows.
I got that. Now you've first of all, I want to agree. When you start doing this, it's like it consumes all your time and energy, and so yeah, I'm with you on the field work. Now I got out of residentials because I wasn't, because you go in and they want you to say yes, this is haunted, or no, this is not haunted, and my definitions of haunted are so fuzzy. I'm one of those guys. I'm not a skeptic. I believe there's ghosts all over the place. Now that's not saying that every place is haunted. I think haunted requires an interaction, a level of activity. So
right.
So so that, and also I got really tired of setting up 16 cameras and all that stuff.
And they don't really like it when you turn off their power. To reset the VCR clock.
Most of the ones I did really just wanted to sit in the living room watching Ghost Adventures while I was investigating. Now, I do want to go ahead before I forget. Now, you all did a public event just last week, correct?
Yes. Yep.
How did that go? Where did you go? Tell us about the event.
Well, I'll start off and I'll kind of let Nick go into some of the audio that he found here.
Yeah. I'm going to play it for you. I know you don't like that, but we're going to play it anyways. No,
we don't. The event was cool. It's an old Masonic temple. It was built by the Masonic fraternity back in 1929. Just the flow of it went incredibly well. We had our historian who has his master's in history. It's what he teaches, is his 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So he gave an awesome presentation.
Blew Aaron out of the water, too.
I had nothing. Yeah, I was like, man, I get up there, ghost guys, right? Am I right?
A lot of ums and
yeah. It was miserable. But other than that, no, we had a good reaction with the crowd. Lindsay had awesome food, so we fed him, after we gave the presentation. Nick and I gave a pretty sweet kind of dual tech presentation, letting people listen to some audio recordings we've gotten throughout the time frame, and just the location was super cool because no team's ever, I'm not sure if they've ever thought about going in here or whatnot.
Or been able to. It's probably because now it's for sale.
Right.
They're like, yeah, whatever, you guys can investigate it as long as you're paying us.
Yeah, as long as the money's right there. We paid. We're the first investigation team to ever go into this place. So mind you, the interaction we had, I feel, with the spirits were confused. They had a lot of conversations with each other, talking about us, and then back to us. It was a very interesting read, to say the least. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of those, Nick?
A lot of great SB7 responses that will be up on YouTube, hopefully within the week.
We'll see. Maybe not this week, maybe the week after. We'll see what we can do.
We actually had a point upstairs where I have a set of IR lights. They're just battery operated, and you just turn them on and set them up, and they go off if they sense a shadow. And we actually had them go off in sequence. There was one over here that went off one in the middle that went off, and one over there went off like a shadow, just went right across the room. It was pretty cool to see. We barely got it on video because of the night vision. It was just too far out of that 60-foot IR night vision.
And we need some extenders, ultimately. Patreon.com, guys. /Ghost Crier. No, but, I think we came out with some pretty neat evidence, though. There's one solid piece I'm still having it run through with a couple of, the inner circle here, just to authenticate it or make sure that it's legit before I blow it out to the world. But we may have caught actual spiritual energy on a still photo. It's awesome. Our skeptic Travis is the one who actually caught it doing a selfie, and he didn't even know it before he slapped it on Facebook, actually, and I'm the one who caught it. The neat thing with this specific photo that a lot of the skeptics can't call BS on, be honest with you, is it projects a shadow. So you see kind of a white streak. It's ectoplasm. One of the best forms I've actually seen caught on film or caught on a still photo, and you see the shadow. There's no doubt that there's a shadow there, and that gives height and depth from where it is at the wall. It's just a very, very cool photo, and I think I don't know. I feel that's that's a win. So hopefully I can't recreate it on in the next couple of days.
Since you're saying it was a selfie, I'm assuming it was a cell phone picture.
Oh yes.
God, I do not trust cell phone pictures for anything. But anyway, I'm going to take my first commercial break here, everybody. You're listening to Paranormal Filler. Hello, friends. Are you exhausted with life? Resent your children? Maybe your husband is cheating on you. Get yourself a tarot reading with Ken Boggle. He can provide you with the clarity, guidance, and answers you need. That's tarotbyken.com. He makes things seem less shitty.
The following is a public service announcement from Paranormal Filler.
Don't be a dick.
This public service announcement has been brought to you by Paranormal Filler. Between science and ignorance, there is filler. Paranormal Filler.
Stop it.
You realize you're not always muted when I
Well, now we know.
Now,
Well, at least we weren't sword fighting or something.
let's talk a little bit about equipment. I know, Aaron, the time I met you up to for our schoolhouse, you're obviously big into tech. Nick, you're the tech guy. The SB7. I take it that you're using it enough that you feel like it's worth the trouble.
Yeah. You're cutting in and out again.
Well, explain to me why. Because, okay, I have heard so many bad spirit box sessions that I just wanted to know what kind of your experience with the box overall.
The SB7, we use it a lot, as many of you have seen. A lot of audio gets scrapped off of it. We actually just went through this tonight. I showed them probably 20 clips that we're not even going to use from our Scottish Rites investigation, just because there's so much that is garbage, you could say.
Even audio contamination for the most part.
Audio contamination and just garbage coming across the SB7. A few weeks ago, when we did our cemetery investigation with the SB 5700 truck, there is actually a couple good responses that came across there that go up their response. That came across pretty clear. A lot of people, I haven't really heard much. I've been waiting and expecting the backlash because I use Adobe Audition on my SB7 recordings, and actually noise cancel out the static and amplify what's left after I've noise canceled it and stretch it and slow it down. But so far, so good. Nobody's really came after us for that. I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
But my experience with presenting any audio evidence is that always present the original with it. In other words, when you listen to that SB7 audio, there was something there that caught your ear. So if you give them the unedited, dirty version alongside of the cleaned version, it shuts up a lot of the critics. At least they'll go, well, I understand why you heard that. But I will also say with any audio evidence that you give me enough time with, I use Audacity. You give me enough time with it, I can make a mouse fart sound like a demon growl, just like that.
Yeah, I could do the same thing.
Yeah. So go ahead, Ernie.
Oh, I was about to say, with when I edit to the videos, I like to present the audio about 4 times. Some of the key audio is about 4 times, and I do the original audio, the first time, and then even the second time. In some cases, maybe up the volume a little bit, but I also don't put words behind those first couple of times too, to let the audience kind of go, okay, what's going on? All right, and then I give an interpretation. This is what I believe it sounds like, and then I play that back again. So I do a total of 4 times. We like to do the original audio first, just for those reasons. I think, be honest with you, I don't think you're ever going to convince a skeptic about, EVPs, Spirit Box, or so forth, those electronic voice phenomena readings, just because it's so many things that they can pull back to. So, yeah. It's a lot of interpretation. I don't know. I like it, but I feel there's other things in the field.
You're never going to satisfy everybody.
No, you're not.
There's going to be that one caveman that ruins it all.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay. Now, what you've defined, though, is a cynic. The cynics are the ones that know there are no ghosts, there is no God. This is it.
And they are the best.
But it's funny. I was actually watching part of your video, Ghost Fake. That I was watching part of that.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm having trouble wrapping my head around in the scientific community is that as string theory moves forward, which I think most people would say is a legitimate field of scientific study, more and more of the things that they're theorizing match up with what we're experiencing. And so in other words, I don't like that. No, absolutely not. When you got the guy smarter than you over there going, well, yeah, it might be a misinterpretation, but there is all this stuff going on that we are not aware of.
Right, and I know they're finding a lot of even discoveries in outer space, and I've been telling people for a while, I think that's where the field needs to kind of escalate to. See how NASA, see how those guys are finding even ghost galaxies, which, is just hidden galaxies that we can't see with typical instruments. But if we're able to utilize those powerful instruments or readjust what we can use, I'm going to call NASA here soon and be like, hey, we need a grant for some of your instruments.
I'm still on
Proton Pack.
I'm still using consumer grade electronics. I don't know about you.
So you don't have 500,000 to...
No.
Wes wants to be able to broadcast into space like the Germans did during World War II.
Oh.
I'll be happy if YouTube Live works 2 times in a row. That's how I feel about it. Now, what... Ghost talk aside, I understand it's fun. That's what I do. You can learn a lot, at least to keep your mind working. As far as the evidence you're collecting in the field, though, what do you hope? What is your goal as far as the field work, as far as the data you're collecting? You said you're not going to convince the skeptics.
Right.
What you've already kind of aimed your belief system. What drives you to still go out there and review 6 hours of audio?
I'll start off here real quick. I know it drives me, to continue reviewing it. At first, when we got the whole Ghost Talk project up, it was actually for entertainment. We wanted to keep it serious and forward-moving and new and different, and give more content, more original content, but paranormal content to the enthusiasts. And only within the last few months, when starting to get the videos moving, I was starting to think and even talk with Nick that, maybe we should take more scientific approach and do what we have been doing in the past to see if we can push anything and escalate this field a little bit more. And honestly, what I would like to do, I'm a believe it when you see it type person. So with that in mind,
he's from Missouri.
I'm from Missouri. I went down about 6 years ago or so and studied, and I went to Tucson, Arizona to meet with a gentleman who was a professor at one of the colleges, and we just kind of spitballed about entity manifestation. That's always been something that I've been interested in. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean energy pumps, to talk. I mean, everything has a density. So everything has a density. If this is real, we should be able to somehow have something that shows it. So how do you do that? That's the challenge. And I think I have some interesting ideas, and we'll just keep working off that. Instead of talking to them, we're going to be seeing them. That's my goal. We'll see where at the end of 2018. We'll see where we are.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I will say that I believe that the inadequacies of our video and photo equipment, and to a great degree our audio equipment, is all about frequency.
Oh yeah.
It's like when people use EMF meters. Now I'll occasionally use one, but I know that no matter which meter I'm using, the numbers I'm seeing are based on your typical wall socket. Even if it's the ELF meter, the natural tri-field, it's still calibrated, to that. So even when I get a hit on it, I'm not getting information that really hones in on it. And I think the same thing is happening with video. When our eyes might be able to, because it's a full field of vision, might be able to pick up on that vibration every now and then. I'm not sure that our video equipment
can do that.
Can do it. Well, I think it can, but I think it's very, very accidental when it does. In other words, their vibration may change or whatever, but that's all that kind of stuff. What, in your experience so far, are there any backstories to the locations that seem to give you a better hunting ground?
I think the only backstory we had going into the Scottish Rites Cathedral last Saturday was that a guy fell off the ceiling. Other than that, I mean, there really was no, if you're in the basement, there's a child that appears, or,
Right.
And we still had a excellent investigation. The video that we did on the tunnels underneath Rock Island, there really was no backstory to that. Mm-hmm. Besides that, they went down there drunk on New Year's Eve one time and heard and seen some weird stuff. And that actually, we got some kick-ass EVPs out of that place.
Yeah, we
just
did.
Winging it and going in there.
It was a crap shot.
And
it does beg the question, he fell off the ceiling?
Yeah. They said there was a gentleman up there, I think it was...
do you know how The Shining, that the main character there needed to go to the hotel to keep the furnace, to keep the pipes warm, and everything? In the 70s, there's some guy at the Masonic Rites Temple that did the same thing at the temple. So his job was to go there in the wintertime, keep the pipes hot and warm, while he's also, nothing to do. Drinker, got drunk, supposedly, and actually fell. He fell through the floor, which actually at that point fell from a high ceiling and to his demise.
That makes sense, because usually when I'm in that, I had trouble holding on to the floor sometimes, but I've never actually fell from the ceiling. Now I want to answer a question in the chat room. Carol asked about why some EVPs seem to be like a growl, and that's because much of what is presented as EVPs, Carol, is not an EVP. It's somebody's thumb too close to the microphone on the
stomach
recorder, stomach growling, all kinds of ambient noise when you're wanting an EVP so bad and you're listening to your audio. And then you take, somebody gets it and then runs it through the filters and all that, and then we go back to the mouse part. There's a lot of stuff that is presented out there as EVPs that never should have risen to the occasion, I think would be a good way of putting that.
We actually just shot 2 ghost talks before you called for next week, and we actually covered that tonight about
EVPs and
like groups that have a SoundCloud page, and every single EVP on there is. Did you hear that? Go back and listen to it again.
Well, see,
you'll die.
My skepticism went way up because I went on an investigation, and we thought we had the controls set up. I had cameras pointing everywhere, thought everybody was in frame, had multiple recorders going, and we got something, and we could not explain it. And it was just one after another. They were good, clear EVPs answering our questions, and we got to the very end of it, and then one of the cameras caught the homeowner's son.
Oh, no.
Talking in a very low tone of voice to his mother, and he was not trying to contaminate the evidence, but none of us caught that he was doing it. And so it threw everything in, and I had already put it out there with the stipulation, we're not done reviewing this, what do you think? But after that happened, then it was, oh my God, I never should have dropped any of this in the public eye, because I look like a fool. But I got some creds for owning up to it. So
hey, there you go.
Now, when you do your investigations, I realize, of course, this last one was a public group. Who works with you? Is it just the two of you, or do you have a team that goes along? Kind of tell us who we can expect when we're doing an investigation video.
Really just us two and Travis for the most part. We've been getting hollered at by people that we need Lindsay more, so we'll probably start training Lindsay to go more on site.
Bearded men in Kentucky want Lindsay. So
hey, who's that there girl?
One of us is going to have to flip a coin for who's going to get fired.
Yeah,
so Lindsay.
It's not looking good for me, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you want to be diverse. That's all I'm saying. Let's go on to our next commercial break. Everybody, you're listening to Paranormal Filler. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Got anything in mind for your special someone? Sure. No, that's not a cliche at all. Flowers. Great idea. Represent your love with something that will be dead in about a week. Lingerie. Yeah, miss that by a size or two and let me know how it works out for you. What you need is a Scarefest gift basket. You get a fully decorated, embellished gift basket ready for gift giving. An official Scarefest convention t-shirt, a horror-themed creepy note card for your sweetheart, a Devil Pez candy dispenser, a mason jar full of gummy worms or Sharknado gummies, a one-of-a-kind Scarefest created creepy zombie plush, a 30-minute tarot reading from Ken Boggle, a 30-minute massage from Rachel Centron, a full 3-day pass or golden pass to the Scarefest. All this with free delivery. Act fast. This is a limited time offer. Go to scarefestradio.com and click the link to get your Valentine's gift basket. listeners, Ken reads multiple spreads during each session to provide you with clear, concise answers and guidance. Don't take my word for it. I'm just a voice on the radio. From Kelly, one reading with Ken completely changed things around for me. Jennifer, I feel so rejuvenated about my life. Melissa, it has changed my life. Visit tarotbyken.com to arrange your own tarot date, or you can call or text Ken at 859-229-4833. And welcome back to Paranormal Filler. Okay, gentlemen, I want to know, Aaron, now you touched on a little bit, so I'm going to start with Nick on this one. Nick, when you got into the field, and I probably have everything muted. Let's see here. Nick, when you got into the field...
We can't hear you now.
At all?
Oh.
How's this?
Nothing.
Oh, goody.
Nothing.
A small hum.
Yeah, there was just a little whisper right there. Nothing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. No idea what's going on.
It's haunted.
The question is, I want to ask Nick, okay, when you came into the field, when you became active in the paranormal field, what was your belief structure coming in, and has it evolved since you've actually been out doing field work?
When I came in, I was just pretty much convinced that I was as large as a doorway and nothing could really harm me. Now that fast forward to 2017 and I've done plenty of research, I know to not use words like I'm your friend, I'm here to help you. And my belief system has always been it's something to do with something in the house. There's a junk water heater, pipes are rattling. I always try to figure out an explanation before I go and say, "Oh, you're right. It was a Civil War soldier that walked across your upstairs." You know, I try to debunk before I just jump and make a call, and I spend a lot of time on audio, listening to it over and over and over. And actually, I do yell at people on investigations for whispering, and I usually say, "They're not deer. You're not going to scare them away. Just speak up."
Yeah, actually, I tell people to make the assumption that they're having trouble hearing you anyway. If it's worth saying, it is worth shouting.
That's usually my audio, shouting EVP sessions with Nick.
It's coming to YouTube.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's how you present yourself and what you go in thinking. But as far as what you are experiencing, do you fall into the classic ghost definition? I mean, are these dead people that you think... Do you think you're talking to dead people? Or do you even make that assumption?
Most of the time, I just assume that there's other people in the room with us. I talk as if they're there and I can see them. I usually start out, introduce myself, introduce Aaron, mention that we drove X amount of miles to get here to talk to you. And yeah, you could say that I think that there's people in there. That's just a thought. I'm not assuming that every place is haunted and that there's always a ghost there ready to speak to your recorder.
Yeah, well, I think for intent purposes, you have to suspend disbelief.
Right.
I've tried to tell skeptics, true hardcore skeptics, that if you go in believing nothing is going to happen, then you're setting yourself up for success. So I understand that. But I want to get down to the theory of it. We talked a little bit about frequency. You talked about how what you're trying to accomplish or hoping to accomplish with video. Are you making that approach with the belief, okay, not the knowledge, but the belief that there are dead people wandering about and that the whole Judeo-Christian thing works. With the video, or how we're talking about the manifestation earlier, really I didn't direct that to catching it on video, but more of an in-your-face type thing, and start from there, because you're right, the video is such a crap shot with the frequencies anyways. It'll be awesome to catch what we can create live on video, but there's a lot of things that do go into that with warp hauntings and whatnot. But yeah, I totally forgot the other part of the question, Wes. It was really good, I bet. Do you
Say
believe
blue.
in ghosts? What it boils down to is, do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Not at all places, but yes.
Yeah. Quit hedging your damn bets. Okay. I just want to. That's like saying, I believe in Bigfoot, but he's not in my kitchen at the moment. Okay,
It's the ghost of Bigfoot. That's why they can't find him.
Actually, that is a common theory that is advancing very, very quickly.
All right.
Now let's get back to the equipment. We've talked about the SB7. What are the common? I know, Aaron, when I met you, you had a toy or two with you. What are your common go-to devices that you're using to collect your data?
I really like being old school with the digital. Of course, a camcorder just to record, our interaction in the area and see if we can get anything. And for me, a digital recorder to get EVPs, and really just collect any, tools to collect any atmospheric changes or anything like that. And that's with me. I know I like the Spirit Box. Nick uses a lot of that. He has a lot of tech associated with him. More so recently, I've been speaking a lot with Steve Huff over at Huff Paranormal.
Oh, man.
Oh, guys. Enjoy the hate that's about to come in. Great guy, by the way. And I really like what he's doing in the ITC realm. There's a lot to it. And I've been old school for so long. Only recently I'm really starting to look at more of this ITC stuff, this instrumental transcommunication world, and I think there's a lot to it. So, recently I got an application, just a phone app. It's fun, $15 or $12 or whatever. I had some pretty questionable results. It was fun. It was neat. Can I sit here and say that it was complete paranormal and blah 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 blah? No, I can't. I don't know enough about the tool. I'm still learning a lot about it, but I feel it's going in the right direction. And I want to do more of the ITC stuff. But yeah, I'm old school. Mirrors, all sorts of stuff. Well, I want to get mirrors in the future.
And on my side, I have two REM pods that we usually set up. One is the actual pod itself. Move my hands over there. It's the actual pod the big one. And the other one is the REM pod that's on the back of a millimeter. Most of the time, I have 2 millimeters and a K2, 2 digital recorders, and a Ovilus that Bill Chappell ended up never releasing to the public, but he was like, it's this big pre-release. And I bought one, and I've never seen one ever again. I think mine must be the only one made. The millimeters and the K2, we have them, but I really don't turn them on and walk around with them. As the millimeters, the millimeter that has a REM pod on the back of it, I use that a lot. But the actual using the millimeter itself is just kind of there. The one never even came out of the case on Saturday. It stayed in there. I actually used a laser IR thermometer over that thing.
I'm trying to think of what that would be useful for, but
something for the customer. Customers hold on to it because there was a couple cold spots that we were feeling. Everybody was walking around like this and feeling.
Of course, you do realize a laser thermometer cannot measure a cold spot.
Excuse me.
They only measure whatever the beam
laser points at. Yeah.
Right. So in other words, if the cold spot on the wall, granted.
But to go through, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't work at all. If it measured ambient temperature, now there is an ambient gauge on it, most of them, which means wherever you hold your hand out to, that it'll measure that. But on the ITC, to go back to what Aaron was saying, my objection, 2 objections to ITC. So much of it is the concept of introducing contamination, audio contamination into the environment,
right,
and seeing if the ghost can do something with it. And I'm not saying that's not a valid field of study.
Of course.
But it is, think of anything else you do in life that you introduce a contaminant into it to get your result. Anybody?
Bueller?
Chemistry? I don't know. You do the whole...
No, you might in chemistry you might add something to see if it reacts, but you still know what your at that point you know what your base compound is.
True.
You won't find very many chemists who just say, "Let's find out what this is."
It had to start somewhere, right? No.
But the other thing is, and this leads into a question for y'all. So much of this ITC stuff goes out and people grab it and take it out in the field and start playing with it and start presenting it as evidence without understanding even what it is that the device is doing.
Right.
What do you all do to research to understand the equipment that you are using?
Well, with the ITC, mind you, it's only been about a week or 2 since I grabbed the app, so it hasn't been a long time. So we're still researching the idea of the app itself. Got a good fit on it. Again, it's been given some interesting results with maybe direct responses. So, of course, we don't want to put it aside because I think there could potentially be something here with this, but regarding all the other equipment that we've used with the detectors, EMF detectors, digital recorders, I mean, that's...
experimenting over and over and over.
Right.
We're not at the same spot, so it's not exactly a controlled experiment, but we should go back to the cemetery that we drove the truck through when we did the SB7 truck and just keep experimenting with that. The first time around, we actually had a radio check come through from one of the local radio stations. It was going along. It said the Quad Cities, but that hacky radio voice in the Quad Cities, and that actually came across. And I was like, "Oh, we got something!" And I just kept playing it over and over again, and it was the biggest letdown of 2017 so far.
And the problem with the paranormal in general is you can't duplicate the results. I mean, that's what science has been throwing out for forever with the paranormal, and it's right. You can't duplicate it because I just feel there's another frequency, another zone, another dimension, another realm, whatever you want to call it. That's within our world that we're just not going to be able to control. We can't control it. Something humans can't control.
See, we can't control it, but you've got a defeatist attitude. we maybe can't control it, but we have to find a way to predict it. Once we've got the measurements, in other words, I'll put it this way. I am convinced that when we get a classic EVP, something happens. Whether it's a matter of frequency, whether it's an EMF spike, at a certain frequency that we're not always ready, there has to be some commonality, and that's not sexy, and that's those type of readings are not sexy. They don't play well on TV.
Not as sexy like Zach Baggins running through a haunted location with an EMF recorder and a barometer. Yeah. Man, I hope the barometric pressure drops. It just dropped. Record it.
It's a demon.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and I'll get. We should be recording barometric pressure, but I don't like getting into the mindset that we're never going to know. Because if we're never going to know, then we're telling ghost stories. That's,
if you never try, you'll never know.
Right. So I don't like to get into that. Let's we got a few minutes left. What are we doing now with Ghost Talk, Ghost Crier? Where do you see the project going? What do you have planned?
Well, this year, 2018, we're just going to push, the Patreon side a lot more, clean up the shows. By July, we really want to get a studio, actually something that's consistent, a lot more professional looking, get rid of TV trays.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I think yours looks better than mine already, so it's clean. It's clean.
But we want to clean it up more, and just get more consistency with the shows, and take it down to a more manageable level, of course, of watching on YouTube. Of course, doing a lot more events, group events, as well as our own events, and see if we can push that.
Get ready to see some insane experiments that you'd never thought would happen.
Yeah.
I have another hobby that I do outside of the paranormal that's going to bleed over into this eventually, and we're going to roll the dice and see what happens.
Yeah, we do got a lot of things kind of cooking up, this year. And and I've said for a long time that I always wanted to bring the paranormal to normal. It doesn't have to be paranormal. So,
which is why we booked a session with speaking to kindergartners at the local elementary school.
Yeah. Hey, kids, how you doing?
Scare the life out of the children.
I've been asked to speak at schools, and I cannot go that long without cursing. And,
you'll be about 10 minutes in, you'll be past
all right, you little bastards.
Where's my smokes, kid?
Yeah, no, actually, I can't. I've had to give enough speeches to adults that I can go a 30, 40-minute thing without smoking. But not without cussing. They just all of us.
Yeah, draw the line.
Yeah, and so I don't want to. I want to inspire the youth of America, but not corrupt them. So I'm going to get the plugs in here. Everybody, let's. If you're playing the home version, ghostcrier.com, and that is spelled Ghost Crier. For some reason, every time I look at that looks wrong. The way the spelling on, I have no idea why.
Hey, there should be a Y in there.
A Y or an O.
My motto is Y.
On YouTube, everybody. Now that's where you find all the good. And it's too hard to find the videos from your website, incidentally. But you can go to YouTube, do the search for Ghost Crier, pops right up. One other thing I wanted to point out, though. Now I want to say I'm honored and I appreciate being on the front page of your website, but my God, could you have found a worse picture of me? That one only makes me look like I'm about 80 with no teeth for some reason.
Yeah, we worked really hard to Photoshop that one.
You send us a picture of you right now with your Survivor Man beard, and we'll put it up there tonight.
Look at that.
See that you just made more work for me. And then January's almost over. For 2 days, and you'll replace it with Ken Boggle or somebody. I know how this game is played. So we've got the plugs in. Is there anything actually on the calendar that you all can announce while you're here?
Well, May we're doing a convention.
Back it up. We're going to Edinburgh Manor in Scotch Grove, Iowa on April 23rd, 2017.
Yes.
Is that a public event or just something that you all are doing for filming? What?
Public event. It's gonna. Yep, we're gonna do a public event there, and probably after the event's done itself, we may just stay later and plug it away.
That one you get all night, unlike the Scottish Rites Cathedral.
They were confused with the event to begin with.
The security guy wants to go home and watch Saturday Night Live, for Christ's sakes.
The price is right the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming on Paranormal Filler. And I'm sorry we had a few minor audio glitches there. But, see, that's why you all record your show and I do mine live, because I love train wrecks. What can I tell you? So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This has been Paranormal Filler.
Paranormal